The agricultural sector employs about 33.5% of the total Ghanaian workforce and contributed 17.31% to the country's GDP in 2019. Although its share of the GDP has decreased in recent years, it continues to be vital to growth. Low levels of mechanization and effects of drought and climate change are threatening to slow or curtail the sector's growth. Hence, it has never been more important to embrace climate resilience and adaptable technologies in agriculture. It is time to hasten the designing of solutions for small-scale farmers, including, but not limited to greenhouse, irrigation systems, and aquaculture. Ghana has over the years experienced increased reliance on food imports, even for basic foodstuff. It is no wonder Ghana is a net importer of agricultural products, importing mainly consumer-ready products such as rice, wheat, sugar, and poultry. Ghana spends more than $2 billion on food imports annually. This huge importation bill has clearly shown that Ghana has to increase her local agricultural food output. But one may ask, with the large tracts of arable lands and agriculture-conducive climates, what is preventing Ghana from achieving this? What are the bottlenecks of Ghana's agriculture? Irrigation is key to agricultural production. However, currently, over 60% of crop production in Ghana still relies on rainwater for irrigation, which is unstable, inefficient, and can only support one planting season a year. Irrigation is supposed to be the solution which moves farmers away from rain-fed agriculture. The Ghana Irrigation Development Authority, GIDA, is the state-established entity responsible for spearheading this. Government of Ghana invested funds about 30 years ago to construct the irrigation schemes in major agricultural production areas around the country. But after many years, most of them are not running properly anymore due to the maintenance and power issues. Let's take a look at one of such schemes, the Aveyime Irrigation Scheme Project in the town of Aveyime in the Northern District of the Volta region. Aveyime has been one of the major rice production schemes in Ghana. But a visit here several years ago would have painted a bleak picture. High electricity bills and pumping challenges was crippling irrigation activities, turning rice farming into a very unproductive and costly venture. Mr. Havo Willington Kwame, chairman of the Aveyime Misonu Irrigation Water Users Association, paints a very gloomy picture of how things used to be.
Electricity was being used, but up to some time, the tariff became so high, farmers could no longer pay for these tariffs. And there was an accumulation of arrears to the tune of 147,000, which compelled GCG to actually disconnect the whole pump station. That was in the midst of cultivation, and the whole farm was actually rained.
Majority of farmers in Ghana rely on rainfall for crop production. This, however, hampers productivity given how unreliable rainfall is. Samuel Debra is the scheme manager for the Aveyime Irrigation Scheme and the local representative of GIDA.
Before the irrigation, most of the farmers were depending on the rain for cropping. The rainfall has a lot of challenges because you cannot rely on it. Also, the yield obtained from the rainfall was always low. For instance, rice can be around 2.5 hectares as compared to the irrigation, which can get around 6 hectares. So once government realizes the best way to let farmers understand or appreciate farming and also help farming to be mechanized was to introduce irrigation.
For the people of Aveyime, the availability of irrigation infrastructure is supposed to make it possible for them to crop at any time of the year. It's supposed to be their succor, their hope for better yield, their livelihood, and a better future. But this hope was gradually dimming. This was due to high electricity payments, electricity is used to power heavy machinery to pump water from the Volta River to the reservoir and then over hundreds of meters to nearby farms through canals. The power is provided by the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, but ECG power supply has three major problems. Tiered pricing system with no subsidy for farmers who are heavy users in dry season. Monthly payment requirement, but the farmers only get revenues at the end of each planting season. An unstable supply with power outage from time to time.
ECG light bill is very, very high. At times we cannot afford to pay. They come down to disconnect us. Mostly, anytime that we are in the peak season, where the rice is about to boot, is there that they will come to disconnect.
My matter is my electricity. The electricity, the bill, we cannot pay the bill. In my party, my farm, my bill is 8 million, AO currency. You see, or if I farm like this, if I pay ECG people 8 million, how, what can I get from this farm? If they take that money, what will remain for me? You see my problem.
Farmers pay the Irrigation Service Charge, ISC, to the scheme to be used to run it. There are many components which constitute this, namely operation cost, administrative cost, minor and major maintenance cost, water rights, and expansion. Farmers were paying 1,200 Ghana cedis per hectare for a season as irrigation service charge, which was used to settle the electricity bill.
We have high electricity tariff, which is the major issue farmers are being faced with. Before, we were always running at a loss because the cost of electricity was always high, which covered the total irrigation service charge farmers pay. But because the electricity tariff, which is part of the operation cost, was always high, we were not having enough to cover this other component of the irrigation service charge.
Irrigation was the last hope for farmers of Aveyime. But this hope was being threatened.
Whilst we were having a problem with the electricity tariff, some of the farmers abandoned the project, left to Accra again, and then Tema to look for a job. Some also in a town, they were looking for other jobs around, like Okada, driving taxis and doing other things. Some also gave their land to different people. And even some thought they were making attempts to use the land for real estate developers.
It was then that China Geo came to our rescue.
China Geo-Engineering Corporation is an international engineering and construction company which also has interest in agriculture. In 2010, they came to Aveyime and built their own demonstration farms. Later on, they witnessed the challenges and difficulties confronting the local rice farmers. Then, they tried to find a solution for them.
So when China Geo saw our challenges, which the number one is the high electricity tariff, they approached GIDA and also approached the farmers that they wanted to come on board to help us to ensure that we can stay in production throughout the year. So they came on board, we accepted them, and ever since we've been working together.
Bonsu Emmanuel is the project coordinator of China Geo-Engineering Corporation in charge of agriculture and solar development.
When China Geo came to Aveyime, the problems that we saw, one of them was the maintenance issue of the pump station. The other was the high cost of electricity that the farmers were facing. So what China Geo decided to do was to build a 50 kilowatt system, which then gave power to the pump station to pick water, then send to the reservoir so that it can be distributed across the farms. The other thing, that is the maintenance issue, China Geo then decided to bring in parts from China that then helped in maintaining most of the old pumps and got it running and became more efficient for the farmers to use. There's been a lot of benefits from this project. The feedback we had from farmers was that it has really helped them in their farms. The feedback we also got from them is that they wanted us to build a different system for them. We did that, so currently Aveyime farm is having a 100 kilowatt system.
The Aveyime irrigation project is one of the few schemes that have made a switch to solar power for its irrigation needs, a transition that proved to be a boon for its farmers. From being able to grow rice only once a year, farmers like Margaret and Ernest now practice cropping all year round.
ECG, anytime the ECG fails, what are we going to get? But solar, it is working every day. Every day solar is working. You see our problem. Last solar I used, I get 39 bags of rice. Yeah, 39 bags. Yeah. But all times I get 20, 27, 30. But now, the one we harvest, I have 39 bags. I take 3 to house. That 3, I didn't count it.
Since the solar came, we have been having a continuous cropping. They can't disconnect us, they don't disconnect us. Anytime we want it, then we pump and then we farm.
With the advent of the solar, I can say farmers have some relief. Relief in the terms that our status, customer status of ECG was reduced from SLT to the ordinary consumer.
The inception of the solar project, we now have enough money, and a yearly we can save around 70,000 Ghana cedi to take care of the other component of the irrigation service charge, such as the land rents, administrative expenses, for Water Resources Commission, for maintenance, major and minor.
Aveyime has found a way out of a gloomy situation, but the problems that confronted it are not only peculiar to the Aveyime irrigation scheme. Many other irrigation schemes dotted around the country face similar problems. Some of the schemes have even been abandoned. The success story of Aveyime gives a strong case to rehabilitate other existing irrigation schemes and upgrade them with solar power.
So the success story of Aveyime irrigation schemes shows us that if this is replicated in most of the irrigation schemes we have in Ghana, it will work effectively. The bottlenecks that we have observed in most of the schemes are almost the same. Some of the schemes have unique problems, but we believe Aveyime has given us the platform to be able to identify most of the problems and solve them appropriately.
Yes, the solar project is a relief to irrigation scheme because in Ghana we have a lot of sunshine, and therefore sunshine is free, and it will help bring down the cost of electricity. So it will be appropriate to install solar systems at all irrigation schemes to bring down the plight, the financial burden on the farmers, because the farmers who pay for those charges.
Based on my experience and the improvement of farmers' livelihood on this project, I recommend that such projects should be replicated to all the pump gravity or pump scheme projects in Ghana to help farmers to continue production and at the same time to improve their livelihood.
With the abundant sunshine Ghana enjoys, shouldn't solar power irrigation